President Donald Trump unveils fresh tariffs targeting vehicles, semiconductors and pharmaceuticals. Meanwhile, China heads to the World Trade Organization to challenge the legality of Trump's tariffs. And we speak to a Ukrainian MP about Trump's push to own half of Ukraine's valuable minerals in exchange for security and weapons guarantees. Hello, I'm Toba Aydin with the latest business and finance news here on TRT World. We begin in the US, where President Donald Trump has announced his intention to impose more tariffs on vehicles, semiconductors and pharmaceutical imports. In the latest in a series of measures threatening to upend international trade, Trump said he would hit car imports with around 25% levies and similar duties on medicines and chips. They could come as soon as April 2nd, a day after cabinet members are due to report to him on options for a range of import duties. Trump added that he wanted to provide some time for drug and chip makers to set up US factories so they could avoid tariffs. Major export stocks in Asia declined on Wednesday following the news. For more on this, we're joined by Jamil Ahmed, Chief Analyst at GTC. Now, Jamil, we're already seeing stocks retreat in Asia. Who would these tariffs hurt the most, and how severe would the impact be?
Well, it's certainly significant because you're looking at an unexpected new industry now that's been in the firing line. And I think the market reaction has been a little bit muted so far, partly because this particular statement of intention came just as US markets were closing, where the S&P 500 did hit a new record high yesterday. However, Asian markets today have pointed lower, and it does appear that European markets are going to be mixed. In terms of what economies this can impact, it stretches from Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Germany, Canada, the United Kingdom, essentially all economies that actually export cars to the United States. And I think it goes to show some of the unknown that comes from this new and returning US administration, that you don't exactly know when the announcement is going to be and how bad that announcement might be also. And again, it could also be just another negotiation tool. Let's see if these tariffs actually come into reality.
As this announcement comes on top of the steel and aluminium tariffs already imposed, wouldn't this make things harder for those US industries that are already struggling?
Well, essentially, the increased costs get passed on to those corporations and essentially consumers. I would look more at the potential economic impact of these tariffs, because one matter that I don't think is being talked about enough is that consumer spending does account for the highest component of US GDP. So if these tariffs get imposed onto consumers through increased prices, if they start actually spending less, and that's the everyday person on the street, then that's when we're going to see more of an economic impact. And so in terms of the industries, so far, yes, that naturally would be concerned. But to be fair, economic data in the United States has been very strong for a number of years, especially compared to advanced economies. So I couldn't say that industries are particularly struggling. There just happens to be uncertainty from these tariff threats.
Now, President Trump's ultimate goal seems to be to bring these companies to the US. How realistic is that?
I would say the goal is more about job creation and also about proving to his voter base that he has put in America first and always. How realistic it is that corporations really will shift all production back to the United States, that's more difficult to tell, because you're talking about structural issues, relocation, and so forth, and that could take a matter of years. But in terms of proving himself that he really is going to do America First policies, of course, the voter base is going to champion such intentions and such instructions that he is pointing out.
All right, Jamil Ahmed, Chief Analyst at GTC, thank you very much for joining us. Now, the World Trade Organization's General Council meets in Geneva on Wednesday to discuss rising trade tensions. At the center of it all is US President Donald Trump's new tariff on all Chinese imports. It's the first time these tariffs face formal WTO scrutiny. Beijing's filed a WTO dispute, slamming the move as tariff shocks that could spark a global recession. The outcome of these discussions could have significant implications for the global economy and the future of international trade relations. And for more on this, we're joined by Rajiv Biswas in Singapore. He's the CEO of Asia Pacific Economics. Thanks for being with us, Rajiv. Now, what are the potential global economic repercussions if the US and China trade dispute escalates further?
I think that is a real and significant risk because President Trump has already signaled that tariffs on China could be increased significantly further. And one of his early executive orders, the America First trade policy, did instruct the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative to review the Phase 1 U.S.-China trade agreement that was done under his first term of office to see the progress. And they are due to report in April. So as early as April, we could see that the USTR comes out with some recommendations, which could include additional economic sanctions on China, including tariff measures. So it's a very real possibility that within a matter of months, we could see even more tariffs being put on China. And because Chinese exports to the US are very large, that could have very significant implications also for other countries, particularly, I would say, in the Asia Pacific region, but also globally, because global supply chains for manufacturing are highly integrated now, and many products that come out of China have significant inputs from other countries. So if exports from China to the US are weaker, that can have significant flow-on effects to other countries. But it's equally important to highlight that this could also result in supply chain shifts as manufacturers react to higher tariffs by shifting their production locations. And one of the objectives that clearly has been signaled by President Trump and his key officials is that they do want onshoring back to the US. One of the objectives of tariff policy, not only on China, but on other countries as well, is try to encourage manufacturers to shift production into the US. And that is what we saw with President Trump's latest announcement about 25% tariffs on autos, on semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, that he wants to give time for manufacturers to shift their production base to the US. That was very much tied to his announcement.
Right, Rajiv Biswas, CEO of Asia Pacific Economics. We will have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Now, Donald Trump's recent comments and upcoming meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin have raised doubts about the US's continued support for Ukraine. As a result, Europe is facing increased pressure to fill the gap. This uncertainty contributed to European markets reaching record highs on Tuesday. European stock markets closed higher on Tuesday, with the Stoxx 600 index rising 0.32% to a record 557.17 points. Germany's DAX was up 0.2%, also hitting an all-time high, while Italy's FTSE MIB 30 gained 0.59%. The rally was largely fueled by a surge in defence stocks following a renewed focus on military spending at the Munich Security Conference. This shift in policy has notably benefited European defence stocks, which have rallied sharply since Trump's inauguration in mid-January. Investors are closely watching developments in the Ukraine-Russia conflict, including talks about a potential peace plan. As a result, the Stoxx 600 Aerospace and Defence Index, which had already hit a record during Monday's session, rose another 0.8%. And several defence stocks saw significant movement. Polish defence equipment maker Lubauer saw a 14% surge. German defence manufacturer Renk Group gained 2.7%. French company Thales rose 2.3%, and Swedish defence firm Saab increased by 1%, while German arms maker Rheinmetall saw a slight dip. Now, after years of supporting Ukraine in its war against Russia, the US is now changing its tone. President Donald Trump has floated the idea of getting billions of dollars worth of resources from the war-torn country by accessing Ukraine's mineral resources. How will this benefit the US? Emre Boz has the details.
Thinking like a businessman is second nature for President Donald Trump, from operating hotel chains to owning golf courses. He's spent almost his entire career managing a billion-dollar fortune. The same instinct is now leading him to use the same tactic he's familiar with in the world of politics. He's reportedly said he wants 50% of Ukraine's mineral resources in return for providing security guarantees for peace between Moscow and Kiev. This came just a week after he said he wanted $500 billion of rare minerals from Ukraine for continued support. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky doesn't seem reassured on this security guarantee.
To do this, I told President Trump we want to sign an agreement. But when we got to the details, there are still no guarantees of safety. And security guarantees, they should somehow be outlined, at least in this memorandum.
Ukraine is rich in various minerals ranging from beryllium, titanium, graphite and lithium. But currently, China is dominating the global rare earth mineral market with around 60 to 70% produced in China and nearly 90% of its refining capacity. This has pushed Europe and the US to look for new resources elsewhere as they invest even more into cleaner technologies. Titanium and lithium minerals play a crucial role in the green transition, important components used in the production of electric vehicles.
Ukraine is believed to have one of the largest reserves of titanium in Europe. Now, Ukrainian businessmen are pretty keen to work with Americans in this sector. However, many of them express skepticism that American companies may not come here in the absence of security guarantees.
Lithium is a key mineral used in batteries to power electric vehicles, and titanium, as a part in EV cars, reduces their outer weight and prevents overheating. As the US scrambles to acquire these metals, it's hoping to guarantee supply for its domestic EV production. Currently, it's falling behind its main rival, China. Worldwide EV sales is being dominated by Chinese EV car maker BYD at just over 4 million units sold, followed by Tesla, then China's Wuling and Geely. But these minerals are not just important for EV production. They are also used in aerospace and defense, the construction sector, and used in power generation for nuclear reactors. And as Trump pursues his America First policy, the move to strike a deal with Ukraine may mean increased domestic production across the board. Emre Boz, TRT World.
Let's cross now to Alexei Movchan in Kiev. He's a member of the Ukrainian Parliament. Thank you for being with us. Now, the war has already cost Ukraine billions of dollars in damages. Can you paint us a picture of how it will affect Ukraine's ability to rebuild its economy?
In general, Ukraine needs security. We are in the war. It will be the fourth year in 1 week. So the people and the economy are struggling. And in order to rebuild and recover the state, the economy, we need security. And this is the main issue that is discussed and communicated by President Volodymyr Zelensky. We are open to investments. We are open to reforms, and we have proven this for the last 3 years of cooperation with European Union in terms of European integration and enlargement of European Union. But the key thing is security, because every day civilian people are dying. This night, the big city, Odessa, more than 1 million citizens have been bombed by Russian missiles, and the supply of water and energy and heating have been destroyed for the whole city. And this is literally genocide for Ukrainian people. That is why it is difficult to speak about business now, before the security is set on the territory of Ukraine.
Right, and US President Donald Trump wants 50% of Ukraine's mineral resources in return for security guarantees. How would this proposal impact Ukraine's economic sovereignty?
So to tell the truth, we are open to United States investment and any other investment, especially if they can provide security. But the problem is that the discussed deal have not proposed any security guarantees for Ukraine. The President Trump's offer was only about the mineral resources and the rights for the extraction of mineral resources, but no security guarantees. And security guarantees, they are needed not only for Ukrainian people, but also for all the investors that will come to Ukraine to extract all these rare minerals. That is why the deal is still discussed. But in general, me as a member of parliament representing Economic Development Committee, I don't see a big problem in letting any rights for extraction of Ukrainian minerals for our partners. It can be United States or European countries. There may be some competition or not for these mineral resources, but the only thing that we need is the security guarantees that will last for a long time, because we don't need the war to stop for 1 or 2 years and then recover, but with another strength. No, we need it. We need security for forever.
And what security terms would Ukraine be demanding from the US?
So the key thing is that Ukraine has optimism in becoming a member of NATO. NATO is a most important alliance that can military organization that can oppose the strengths of Russia. Russia is a very powerful country and they have a very strong military. So the first option and the key option that we are discussing is a NATO membership. But nobody says that this is the only thing that is on the table. The problem is that nobody proposes any alternative. So let's search for an alternative. We are ready to share our resources with the United States investors for the security of my people, of my nation. And if the security with United States guarantee or any coalition of countries that may provide this kind of guarantee, security guarantee for my people, we can afford any cooperation in terms of mineral resources extraction.
Right, and President Zelensky was just in Ankara meeting with President Erdogan. What role do you see Turkey playing in Ukraine's future?
So we are in an unpredictable time, to tell the truth. We believe that the world, civilized world, is still on the has still a conscious about who is victim and who is rapist, and that our key partners will say to their nations and to the world will be straight that rapists must be responsible for all the atrocities that they have done. They have made 25% of my country refugees or IDPs or occupied. I say in terms of population and the territories. That is why nobody should substitute the meaning of the war and who is aggressor. And we believe that the most of our partners still understand this and will not let the atrocities to develop in Ukraine or in another country who is neighboring with Ukraine and Russia.
Oleksiy Movchan, a member of Parliament of Ukraine. Thank you very much for joining us here on CRT World.